Kristen, Jordan, Shamus, Detroit. Free Press published 3:17 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, April 17, 2019. Larry Nassar. Larry Nassar, a Texas Tech University fan, shouted in response to Michigan State University students' cheers of "Go Green! Go White." Katie Mahon's stomach lurched. She and her sister were in a crowd of people near the concession stand at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis for the NCAA Final Four men's basketball tournament. The Texas Tech fan was walking in one direction, the Mahon sisters walked the opposite way. "I just put my arm around my sister, and I was like, okay, I'm going to keep on walking. That guy is a piece of, well, you can fill in the appropriate word," said Mahon, 28, a Hazlet, Michigan, native who now lives in Chicago. "I looked at my sister, and she was like, I almost just punched him in the face," and then she started crying. "She's my younger sister, so I feel horrible because I'm supposed to protect her. And she's been there for me a lot over the past couple years." She started crying, and she was like, "I can't believe he just said that." Hearing Nassar's name used by a heckler like a verbal weapon at a sporting event was difficult for Mahon, who is among the hundreds of girls and young women who were sexually abused for years by the former MSU sports medicine doctor, in a competitive environment. "Essentially, it's a fight," she said. "So, you bring up things you know are going to hurt, so you can win, you know? And in this environment, it's wanting to win not only the game, but win any arguments, win with banter, and not knowing when to draw the line. There's lines you should know you cannot cross, you cannot go there. Sexual assault and rape should be in that category, and it's upsetting that it's not in that category." The last 2 years, which saw Nassar's conviction on child pornography and sexual assault charges, as well as the rise of the Moore, who is Larry Nassar, a timeline. Michigan State to pay Larry Nassar victims $500 million in settlements. Did Michigan State's ex-president lie to police? She wants to be sure people realize how hurtful that kind of heckling at a sporting event can be, and to urge others to speak up when they see or hear someone behaving that way. "I am sure it's not the first time an opposing team's student has said something like that, nor will it be the last time," Mahon said. Quote, "But how do we bring understanding and empathy to sexual assault survivors so it doesn't happen again?" She wonders if the student who shouted Nassar's name realizes that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men in the United States will experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetimes, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. "Is it just that they feel like they are so removed from the situation, they can't understand how upsetting that would be?" she asked. "Like if his sister was a sexual assault survivor, I don't think he'd be yelling that at the game. They're just so far removed, they don't think they know anyone who has been through that. There's a 1 in 3 chance that his mom has been assaulted, that his sister has been assaulted. And if he knew that, would he be making jokes about it? Probably not." Mahon wished that someone in the crowd would have stopped him, not only for her benefit, but to help any other sexual abuse survivors who might have been within earshot, and were similarly hurt. "We need to give the power to the average person to speak up and stop that from happening," Mahon said. A public reckoning when the news broke in 2016 that Nassar had been assaulting athletes through USA Gymnastics. Mahon didn't believe it. "I was like, this is crazy," she said. "I thought, he wouldn't do that to me. But then came evidence that Nassar had possession of child pornography." Mahon began to realize that she, too, had been manipulated into believing her old pal and doctor was helping her when he actually was molesting her. In February 2017, Mahon said she got involved in the criminal case against Nassar as well as civil lawsuits that alleged MSU, USA Gymnastics and others failed to protect his victims from abuse. It was then that Mahon began to come to terms with what really happened. Nearly a year later, Mahon became the 10th Nassar survivor to tearfully give her account in Ingham County Circuit Court of the impact Nassar's years of assaults had on her life. "Speaking publicly took its toll. I took 3 months of mental health medical leave after that because it just kind of everything came crashing down at that point," she said. "I went to therapy twice a week. I'm usually someone who is very put together. Nothing can stir me up, and so that really hit me hard. It was also trying to figure out what my identity is. I was like, I'm tough. I can push through this. Why am I not able to focus on work right now? And my therapist was like, well, it's because of all this stuff you've been compartmentalizing over the past like 10 years. She's really great. We don't talk about the Larry stuff every time, but sometimes it comes up. Mahon also couldn't bring herself to go to any MSU athletic events. It was hard to go to games and be happy, she said. It was hard to wear Michigan State gear, even just walking around Chicago, because I was so disgusted with how the administration at the university was handling everything. I didn't feel like watching football games, basketball games, or anything for a good year or more after everything that happened. A bittersweet MSU homecoming in March. Mahon finally mustered the courage to buy tickets to a basketball game. I felt like I was coming home, she said. And though it felt good to wear her Sparty gear and cheer with the crowd, Mahon said she was shaken when she saw former MSU interim president John Engler sitting courtside at the Big Ten championship game in Chicago. I was excited and nervous about coming home after a very toxic situation, and it was like someone put a wrench in that, she said of the moment when she saw Engler, who was appointed in 2018 but was forced to resign earlier this year. He made headlines for trying to avoid an interview with investigators from the state attorney general's office about the university's handling of the Nassar investigation. Engler also has been widely criticized for statements he has made about sexual assault survivors. Overall, the MSU community is wonderful, Mahon said. I thought of Larry Nassar as the cancer or virus within MSU. Overall, MSU is a loving community that had some very toxic people that allowed a predator to thrive. On the heels of MSU's Big Ten championship win, Mahon and her sister drove to Minneapolis to see the Spartans take on Texas Tech in the Final Four. That's when the heckler threw her off guard once again. My sister's response was that she was crying about it, Mahon said. I definitely have been very sad about everything that has happened, by what people have done and not done, but the emotional aspect of it, I feel like I've gone through that. Those times I am crying about it are a lot fewer now than they were a year ago or 2 years ago. Instead of being sad about it, I went through those emotions, and it will be a part of my life I can never take back. What I like to do is make an impact, by speaking out, by being an advocate for children and sexual assault survivors. Mahon is healing. It helps to be involved, she said. Mahon joined the non-profit Army of Survivors, created by fellow Nassar survivor Grace French, and also was among about 20 other people who have been sexually abused, to help develop the curriculum for Courage First, a program aimed at child sexual abuse prevention that was launched by the Foundation for Global Sports Development. Last year, we had the ESPY Award, the Glamour Woman of the Year Award, Mahon said of the honors given to women and girls who'd been abused by Nassar. It is so much better than any type of an award. Contact Kristen Jordan Shamus, 313-222-5997 or kshamus at freepress.com. Follow her on Twitter at Kristen Shamus. Let's block ads. Why?